I started counting orgasms to prove a point to my boyfriend, and he called me crazy. My boyfriend Jake and I have been together for 5 years. When we first started dating, our sex life was great, but over time, something changed and I couldn't figure out what was wrong. I'd try to talk to him about it, but he'd just say everything was fine and that I was overthinking things. He'd initiate sex all the time and seemed totally satisfied, but I was left feeling frustrated more often than not. It got to the point where I started making excuses to avoid it because I knew how it would end. 6 months ago, I was venting to my friend Lisa about it over coffee. She asked me to be specific about what was bothering me. I tried to explain, but realized I didn't have concrete numbers, just a general feeling that something was off. That's when I decided to start keeping track. I opened a note on my phone and made a simple chart. Every time we had sex, I marked down whether he finished and whether I did. I wasn't trying to be weird about it, I just wanted actual data to show him what I was experiencing. At first, I thought maybe I was being dramatic and the numbers would prove me wrong. After 3 months, I looked at the data. Out of 30 times we'd had sex, he finished 27 times. I finished 11 times. I kept tracking for another 3 months just to be sure. The pattern stayed exactly the same. He was finishing about 9 out of 10 times. I was finishing about 1 out of 3 times. Seeing it written down like that made my stomach hurt. This whole time I'd been telling myself it wasn't that bad, but the numbers didn't lie. I started talking to my girlfriends about it without mentioning the tracking at first. I just casually asked them about their relationships. Turns out, almost all of them had similar experiences. My friend Sarah said she couldn't even remember the last time her husband made sure she finished. My friend Emma said she'd stopped expecting it years ago. When I told them I'd been keeping count, they all wanted to know their own numbers. Most of them started tracking too and came back with similar results. Some were even worse than mine. One friend said her ratio was like 1 out of 5 times. Last week, I finally showed Jake the data. We were lying in bed after sex where once again, only he finished. He was all relaxed and happy and I pulled out my phone. I showed him the spreadsheet and explained what each column meant. His face went from confused to angry really fast. "You've been keeping score?" he said, sitting up, like I'm some kind of test you're grading. I tried to explain that I just wanted him to see the pattern, that if the situation was reversed and he only got to finish 1 out of 3 times, he probably wouldn't want to have sex as often either, that this was affecting my interest in being intimate with him. He got defensive immediately. He said I was being manipulative and turning something intimate into a math problem, that I was making him feel like a failure. He called me obsessive and said keeping a spreadsheet was psycho behavior. I told him the only reason I started counting was because every time I tried to talk about it normally, he'd dismiss my feelings. The numbers were right there in black and white. He couldn't argue with the data. That's when he called me an asshole and said I was ruining our relationship by being so analytical about everything. He grabbed his pillow and went to sleep on the couch. He's barely talked to me since then, except to make comments about how I'm probably tracking that too. The thing is, I've been in 2 other long-term relationships before Jake, and the exact same thing happened in both of those. It starts out balanced and then gradually shifts until I'm the only one not getting what I need. And when I bring it up, I'm told I'm too demanding or expecting too much. My friends all agreed that I wasn't wrong for tracking it. They said guys don't realize how one-sided things get because they're always satisfied. Lisa even said she wished she'd done the same thing years ago so she'd have proof when her boyfriend accused her of exaggerating. But Jake's still mad and now he's telling his friends about it. His best friend texted me saying I need to apologize because I embarrassed Jake and made him feel inadequate. Even his mom called to say I should be more understanding because men have fragile egos about this stuff. I deleted the spreadsheet, but I can't delete the numbers from my brain.